So I'm here with the wonderful James Interactive, the most interactive James I know, the only one who is bold enough to put it in their name. You are named after interactivity. James, are you ready to interact?
I'm ready to be interactive. How are you? Do you want to interact? I mean, I guess I need to throw that out there, press start to play.
Yeah, you're so kind and into consent. I think that it would be weird if I asked you to be on the show and then said, but let's not interact.
Yo, that would be a bold move.
Yeah,
I
you
wouldn't
you
put it past the favorite son of Boston, right?
I've been called that, sadly. Am I sad about it? Nobody knows. Nobody knows me. I don't know anybody. Everything's a mystery. Everything's exciting. Everything's scary. We could have done this show, and I think it would have been great, though, now that I'm thinking about it this way. You are so entertaining. You could have just gone about your day and not interacted with me, and it still would have been riveting. Who knows what would you would have done? Look at that. Look at your shirt. Stand up and show us your shirt. We
Oh
that
my
we just
goodness. I have Sister Sister, but it's the Misfits and it has every iteration of the Joker.
Yeah,
I
although
am.
the sweet movie Jokers, it's
Oh yeah, you got the Jared Leto, you got Jack Nicholson, you got the one of that
oh,
everyone
that's
loves.
right. I was on the edge of my seat as to whether that was going to be Caesar Romero,
Hmm.
who the
Oh, you know what? I'm
but
sad
that's not
that Caesar's
movies.
not on here. I'm also sad that what was it? Greg Turkington's not on here as
Oh,
him in his Joker makeup. That is just I think that's the most terrifying portrayal of the Joker.
yeah, because it's the Greg Turkington, for those who don't know, he's also Neil Hamburger, and he's
Hmm.
himself on Cinema at the Cinema with Tim Heidecker. Tim Heidecker now running InfoWars, and I'm very interested to see if Neil will suddenly show up.
Oh,
And
I would love it. I
I
would love
know
it so much. I
I would.
saw Neil live here in Philly, and it was just so good.
I'm not surprised. He's an acquaintance of a friend, so I can make sure you meet Neil in real life eventually.
That would be lovely.
Um,
He had an opener that I loved. I think his name was Major Awesome, and he had a oh my God. So just as a side note, because I feel like this guy, I've been badgering him to release more stuff.
Major Awesome or Neil Hamburger?
Major Awesome,
Yes.
but like the one song that stuck with me was Pin Pin Terry O'Quinn. You know him from Lost. I know him from the movie Pin Terry O'Quinn. Like it's just really
Wow.
weird like that. And it's just like,
Yeah,
yeah, I knew Terry O'Quinn before that. He was in The Stepfather, wasn't he?
that's a great question. And I I wouldn't say that to just about anybody else. But yeah, from you, it's a great question because it shows me how much your mind is always digging into the annals of VHS horror movies that you looked
Hmm.
at some point. You're always there. And the game you're working on still, and I'm always afraid I'm going to get the name wrong. It's one of my deep fears. The game is scary, and also I always want to put the screaming in the wrong place.
Okay.
I get blood death, and I
Yeah.
call it blood death for short when I'm
Yes.
talking to.
And if you search for it, Blood Death will take you where you need to go.
Oh, good, but it's screaming savage blood death, right?
You got it.
Yeah, I'm always scared. I'm going to say savage scream. No, screaming savage.
You
Savage.
know what? Some folks say Savage Screaming. I think I've heard Edmund say, as in the
Oh,
villain say, Savage Screaming Blood Death. But, as long as you get the Blood Death right,
you'll
you'll
get to
find
where
me.
you
In
got to
fact,
go.
I don't think Google cares which order you put it in.
That's fair, as long as it's findable. And you've been working on it for how long?
I would say about 4 years coming up.
Wow, that's exciting.
Oh yeah,
It's
that's what happens when you take on too much by yourself. It's just me and
and
Wayne
Wayne.
Kubiak who did art for Shushimi. He did art for Binding of Isaac Rebirth and the subsequent updates to that. 1001 Spikes. He's just like this fantastic artist, but unfortunately, he's just doing the pixel art, and I have to program and write and do the music and
Yeah.
just because like I don't want to put anyone else through the ringer. I'm the type of person that's like make it uglier, make it a little grosser. I've had to poke Wayne a little to be like, it doesn't have to look that great.
Well, I don't know if this is spoilers, but you and I had worked together on some ideas
Oh
for
yeah,
the game.
we're gonna put out a comic.
I wasn't sure if you wanted how much of it
Oh,
was a secret. So there's
oh,
a
not
comic.
much is a secret anymore. No,
Fun.
we'll talk about it. We worked on a comic together, didn't we?
We did. And you sent the script, and I had never been sent a script in this way before. And I was really trying to get it right. But I barely have any time. So I'm like scribbling away and during dinner and stuff like that. And as I'm like falling to sleep. And I sent you some pages, and you're like, these look good. I'm going to ink them. And then you sent back the inks, and it went from a claw entering a teenager's skull to like the eyes like be protruding, and the gore, like you took it from R-rated to like in the 70s it might have been X-rated because it was so gross. It was like Italian horror. You took it.
Perhaps. I mean, like it's goofy enough that I would say it's a lot more like I'm sure we discussed Dead World.
Yeah, we did discuss Dead World. That's
Yeah,
right.
where it's just enough like somebody scribbling in their notebook with their like heavy metal logos, like the weird messed up shit that they would draw, like some like army soldier with a skull face stomping on a baby, or you can't be really hurt about that because that's just like that's just somebody venting out their frustrations.
And,
Yes,
and,
that's Blood Death. It's me venting out my frustrations about how everyone feels about New Jersey.
yeah, well, well, I wanted to. We've talked about it before, but it never hurts to refresh. It is a game in the style of Friday the 13th for the NES,
Yes.
though it's very different in terms of enemy variety and character designs. It is not a fan game. It is just
No.
a game that wears its tribute on its sleeve.
Yep.
But
And
it's
in addition to Friday the 13th, it's, I guess, a love letter to all that, like, LJN stuff that
mm,
folks, some folks have, like, a negative opinion of, but, like, really, there's a lot of people like me and Wayne that have favorable opinions and almost have, like, a need to be like, okay, well, this was a good idea. Finish the idea. Somebody finish.
hmm. You
So
didn't play the recent Jaws NES Jaws remix that Limited Run put out, did you?
I have not, but I do remember the original Jaws, and I believe I beat it. You know,
Yeah, it took a while and it was tough to stab Jaws just right.
yes, yeah, that was the struggle, but that stuff was fun. I mean,
Mm,
it was akin to a lot of the early Japanese game design of like I don't know how they did JRPGs and adventures, how things were a lot more flip screen or single screen. Like
hmm
it very much was a lot more raw. Um,
hmm.
like for example, the Friday the 13th game was done by Atlas, who is
Oh,
famous
that's right.
for Persona and
Hmm.
Shin Megami. But like you could see like oh well this is they had some programmers that they knew or that were in house that they probably were more familiar with the PC 88 or 98, took some concepts from that and jammed it into an NES game, which
Hmm.
to a Japanese audience would probably be second nature, and to an American audience we're just sitting there going what the hell is this, this isn't Mario. It was
That's
more
right.
akin to Shadowgate, in fact.
Which was all pretty transgressive towards what had succeeded and boundary pushing at the time.
Hmm.
So you're kind of, I feel like you're bringing back that feeling of boundary pushing, but in a shape that some people on the surface may think, oh, it's just like a cutesy retro throwback game.
Oh yeah.
But
I
it,
mean, I've certainly had strange feelings about that game, considering like uh, if anyone's unfamiliar with the game, it is semi autobiographical, like maybe 25% autobiographical in the
Your
sense
game.
that, yeah, so
Yeah.
in the sense that, it takes place in my hometown or home area. There's a lot of my history and the area's history included in the story, and a lot of it is in contrast to what other people feel of about New Jersey, about things like Friday the 13th that took place in New Jersey, and a
Hmm.
lot of the ideas that surround that. I say I love those things like the Friday the 13th movies and especially the game in the sense that you could kind of see New Jersey in it, but
Hmm.
there's a big disconnect where you can tell folks from outside the region may have heard a few things and they're like, all right, I get the gist of, people that live in the woods. I get the gist of, that going to, New Jersey. They all talk very crudely, they're very brash and
Mm.
there's actually like a much deeper history behind that. In fact, if you want to go through the legitimate history or, the mythologies of New Jersey, all of it kind of ties together.
Yeah. And I'm always glad when you re-explain that to people because again, my concern is people will think, oh, like the new Rugrats game looks kind of like an old NES game, or
Hmm.
there's so many games that use that as a jumping off point, but where you go from there as a jumping off point is a pretty deep and big deal. And there's so much lore behind it that I'm confident it could become the next thing that all the kids are freaked out about, like Backrooms, Five Nights at Freddy's, Exit
Whatever.
8.
Whatever. I appreciate it, but it's more so. It's just it feels like a demon I need to excise.
Yeah, for
It's
yourself.
not really like me. I don't intend to do anything special outside of like, okay, well, I felt unsatisfied by video games as of late. I
Mm.
felt unsatisfied creatively. I love VHS movies and old video games, but like recently, I feel like I'm just something's not doing it for me. So
Hmm.
this is my attempt at satisfying myself in that sense. And I
Uh-huh.
think if other people dig it, great, but I got to be true to myself and true to what I want, and that
Yeah.
usually ends up with me doing most of the work on the game just because I wanted to be a little have that tobacco stain haze on it.
Yeah, nobody does it like you. For those who don't know, you did video and like live action commercials for some of Edmund McMillan's games. You worked with Edmund
Yeah,
on a couple of games.
I mean
So
it's charitable to call them commercials. I mean, it really was. Well, honestly, it was just like a few bucks in my pocket and just trying to do something weird for Edmund. And like, I really didn't care too much about how polished it was. I really didn't care about embarrassing myself because, I mean, that was the promise of the internet when Edmund was first putting out games.
hmm.
And, it was a lot easier for me to be like, okay, I'm a clown, blah, blah, blah. So that's how I got introduced into, the video game industry. But
Yeah,
then eventually it's like, all right, fine, I'll make a game. So we made Fingered, me and Edmund.
that's right. Which
And
is a game about like suspicion and judging people as you can from the surface, but it's also called Fingered. So
yes,
it's immediately it's
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 it's if I had to describe it in an elevator pitch, I would say it's Guess Who if you played with your racist grandma.
which is which is a bold move.
Hmm.
You've never not made a bold move from what I can tell. And then you worked on Bumbo,
Hmm.
which I really liked, and I talked to you about how much I liked it.
And
And
I
I actually see elements of eugenics in Bumbo. I think that they've got similar appeal. I hope that now that eugenics is so popular, people like reassess Bumbo because it's got a similar like unpredictability in terms of how crossing the streams or mixing things together can give you all these unpredictable elements, but it is, of course, more of a puzzle game.
If anything, I'm happy that it gave Edmund, it influenced Edmund to, do what he did on Eugenics, which
Mm,
absolutely fantastic game. If people haven't picked it up, it's another banger, you know.
yeah, yeah, he did wonderful. So I'm afraid I'm going to get the name wrong again. It's not that I don't know it. It's like a fear of recall. We'll just call it Blood Death. I know you aren't interested in this happening necessarily, but you're also making the game because you want it to be out there and to be
Hmm.
experienced by folks. You want to play it yourself, but you are going to release it. When people start to relate with the characters instead of seeing it and thinking, oh, when I play this, I'm really going to be playing as like 10-year-old me playing an old game. Like people see retro games and they think, oh, I'm not really going to like embody the character in this game. I'm going to embody me when I was a kid playing games like this. It's a time
Hmm.
machine for me. But once they dig into the story of Blood Death and see the autobiographical elements and see to me, from what I have picked up from the game, it not being out yet, but what I've gathered, so much of it is about how the system that we're all kind of embedded in is there to threaten and torture us,
Oh
and
yeah.
the NPC dialogue is very reassuring. Like if you're looking to get hope from the grown-ups, you're, you're gonna be pretty scared. Like it's scarier to me than the monsters, the way the adults interact with you and let you know that you're getting no help from them. So I
Yeah.
feel like there's a lot to relate to there for kids who feel like they can't trust adults and can't trust the system.
Well, it's an American tradition of not having children not trust adults for very good reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And
Hey,
it's kind of there's a lot of New Jersey history involved in that. Not to put New Jersey you know, under the spotlight in that regard, but
well, yeah,
there's a lot of I mean, prejudice against, folks in the area. I don't know how much you know about South Jersey in particular, but it was part of the Underground Railroad. It was a very diverse area, and it also had, you know, a lot of weird presumptions about it because of
mm,
folks that just wanted to be left alone. The this 1980s equivalent, well, I'm sorry, the 1800s equivalent of, sovereign citizens, if you will.
yeah, and it's it doesn't make New Jersey look bad, in my opinion. To me, it's like a microcosm of all of the United States, but with a focus on how people with differences, with, intellectual differences, developmental differences, racial differences, like all of the differences, somehow New Jersey seemed to like get away with real abuse of those groups
Hmm.
and somehow come out like if it was years ago now, but you showed me that there was someone who made a sitcom about it that like had the name like a discriminatory name for like lower income people in the name.
Yeah, so there was a many a property named after the hypothetical group. I don't know if you would call them racial group because there was nothing racial binding them together, but it was essentially hillbillies
Yeah,
without a hill. It's the folks that live in the woods in South Jersey. They're called Pineys.
that's right.
And I myself am a piney, but the stigma is that pineys are subhuman and have low intelligence and are prone to murderous ways and swindling folks and often compared to gypsies, using that word,
Wow.
gypsies.
Hmm.
But yeah, like if there were several times in American media where they specifically called out the group or didn't call them out by name, but you know let, had characters that were incestuous, trust scamming the government, avoiding taxes, had like a grift, and
Hmm.
it's just like, oh, that's how you saw my people. And unfortunately, like it's either that or nothing. You know, it's
Mm.
either they think that my people are, some sewer dwelling chuds, or it's the Jersey Shore.
Which is kind of two sides of the same coin, depending on how you look at it. Yeah, it's interesting how people want to like mock these groups that they other and consider like below them because they're poor or where they live or just being separate from that
And
class.
honestly, I don't know if it all comes from like purposeful maliciousness.
Hmm.
There's a aspect of it that is almost a like just floating signifier. Like
Hmm.
a good example of that is moron. The word moron.
Hmm.
That word was invented to describe pineys specifically.
Really?
Yes.
I did not know that.
Yes, it was developed specifically to describe them as subhuman, idiotic, dot dot dot, what
Wow.
have you. So
And your
it
game,
didn't occur prior to that, and it was invented in the like early 1900s.
wild.
Yes.
So
So
when
every time
people
I hear that word, it's like, thanks.
So this is all embedded in this game that people aren't aware on the surface of.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, it's part of Friday, like playing stuff like Friday the 13th, they got the aesthetics right. I mean, the movie took place in Jersey. I went to the camp. As a child, went to the camp that they shot Friday the 13th in, and you know, it's semi-authentic. But once you actually try to dig past the surface, there's nothing there.
mm,
There's just a slasher story about a malformed, idiotic child murderer.
and
Hence my game. Guys, the difference is it is about something. It's about what Jersey was for me and everyone I grew up with, and some of the disconnect that I have with like greater media and how
mhm,
they see my region.
yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of great history and beautiful things that happen in my area, and there's strange things. If you're into fucked up stuff, if you're Alex Jones looking for new material, South Jersey is a, practically the town Twin Peaks as a half a state.
Wow.
So,
In
like,
terms of the supernatural and
in
the
terms of
unexplained.
supernatural and government conspiracy and military involvement in nuclear accidents and a recorded case of the military shooting and killing a gray.
Wow. Yeah,
So there's a lot there, and it's like no one talks about it. And
mm,
that to me kind of colors the feeling of Jersey. This, you know, everyone ignores it. Everyone exploits the area, and everyone ignores the exploitation. In fact, we had one of our major bridges that bridges Pennsylvania to Trenton, literally has the words "Trenton makes, the world takes" on it. And I would
mm,
say that is the feeling I have about my region and how everyone kind of views it.
hmm
We
hmm
make and everyone takes.
Yeah. I mean, people aren't. I don't know of people that think of Friday the 13th as a New Jersey movie. They think of it
Hmm.
as a camp movie, as a woods movie.
Oh yeah, and some folks I've heard some people describe it as Midwest. And I'm like, where the hell in the Midwest would that take place? Although you can tell when they shoot in California, all the green, pine and all the grass suddenly disappears. You see like dirt.
Oh, yeah. I'll have to look for that. In the first one, some of it's shot in California.
No, no, no. First one's all New Jersey. In fact, the cast is from the region, and that's why Kevin Bacon's in the first one because he's
Oh.
a Philly guy.
Oh, all
Yep.
right. And that's like what, 2 hours, 3 hours out from New Jersey?
Philly's right across the river.
Okay. So
So, in
less than
fact,
that.
like if I cross the river, I go into the region that my game takes place.
Fun, because you're in
Yeah.
Philly now.
Yeah. So, but within, I think the third one is when they started filming in California. The
Yeah.
one in 3D. Yeah,
Oh
I
yeah.
hate to break it to you, but once they went 3D, the legitimacy, the authenticity kind of waned.
Yeah, that fair enough. And then eventually he took Manhattan and whatnot.
Hmm.
What do you think of horror games these days? Do you have thoughts? Are you paying attention to what's happening
I
with
mean,
horror games?
yeah, I mean, a lot of it is inspiring. A lot of it looks cool and plays cool. Some of it are new favorites. I don't know if you could call Faith new anymore, but that became a favorite.
Oh, sure.
Um,
Yeah.
but it's not scratching my itch.
Hmm.
It's not that they're not no good. It's just I've developed a taste for something different, and I guess it's in short supply.
Hmm. Yeah, it's only one place to get it, and that's from you. It's
Yeah,
your
and it
game
took
is not like
four
any
four
other.
years to do it. God damn.
Yeah, how
Yeah.
close do you think you are to getting it done?
Well, we're talking to distributors. I'm sure you heard me in behind the scenes talking about that.
Yeah.
We're polishing it. I just finished the soundtrack, which is about 40 tracks. Um, Wayne is just kind of going through the art with a fine-tooth comb, and we're just playing the game and trying to get the bosses right. But it's finished.
Awesome.
It's written, it's playable, it's there. It's just I want to make sure that everything is set up for a release.
Hmm.
That um, developing the game with me and just Wayne was a big task in itself.
Hmm.
And releasing a game is a matter of also support and dealing with a community and making sure that you continue to market the game and you continue to, you know, give life to the product.
Hmm.
I am perfectly fine, updating the game and going into my like dungeon, but I do need, the extra help to talk to people and be like, no, James is still alive. James is fixing that, or James is adding this. I need that liaison, that Renfield to my Dracula. But yeah, once we have that all set up, release would come very soon. We're just making sure that we can get it to console and get it in people's hands where they're deal with very little issue.
Yeah, you want to get it on console too. That's
Hmm.
exciting.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's no reason for it not to be on consoles or mobile.
Hmm.
Um, we've tried to keep the controls pretty simple.
Hmm.
I think in terms of button count, it's similar to like a Super Nintendo controller,
Hmm.
but I've experimented with control schemes where you could play it with an Atari controller. Not to
Oh,
say
wow.
not to say that it'll release that way, but I've experimented with it because I'm a big proponent of, you don't need every button under the sun
Hmm.
if you're just not simulating something that's like meant to be a simulation. So,
Right.
if Mario 3 was able to do it on an NES controller, we can get away with Super Nintendo controller setup if you get what I'm putting down.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there any interest in doing like a down port that could work on an NES?
I feel like that would cut out a great deal of content,
Yep.
um, because the game outside its pixel art, there's certainly content that wouldn't be able to exist in a downport.
Right. Too big.
We could potentially do a downport that would be strictly the mechanics and maybe like a vertical slice of the storyline, but
Hmm.
there's additional stuff to the game outside what you would notice from the get-go.
Right.
It
There's some
honestly wouldn't
secrets.
be able to be hosted on anything outside of a PC or a recent console.
Yeah. Well, that's good for people to know. So it's no more than you can see right now in videos and screenshots. Bosses, plural. I'm so happy to hear that because Friday the 13th, one of the negative associations people have is like it's birds and it's Jason and like some other problem, snakes.
Well, I will say there are birds in my game, but they're actually local nuisances. The Canadian geese and the turkey vultures.
Oh, like real
Yeah,
birds. Yeah.
yeah, like actual. actual things that people have to deal with. The
But the
Canadian geese are
bosses
very, very aggressive, and the turkey vultures vomit up a acidy bile that will eat through your skin if it gets on you.
in real
This is
life or
not
in the
a game,
game
this
or
is
both?
reality.
It's both?
Yeah. So
That's trouble. That I did not know that. How
yeah.
many
So
can you give us some hints? I'm so curious. Ah, and it's okay if you don't want to tell me. But in working on the comic, there is at least one character who clearly, there's a stalker enemy, we can say. That's
yeah, there's this stalker enemy is named Leaves. He's this like ghostly wraith of a killer, hulking beast.
big.
But
Hmm.
outside of that, there are four, or I guess three other bosses that
Ah,
we're not exactly talking about, but you can glean.
yeah. Well, I want more than you, I think. You
Hmm.
are putting the game out there and then just saying, this feels good. I'm done. And
Oh
now I
yeah,
have the game I want. I want people to, I want them to try it. I want them
oh
to
yeah.
take a chance on it because it's,
Oh, I'm going to be happy to see some of the moments in the game through the eyes of someone who's just discovered it. There's
mm,
definitely there's points of the game where when we've shown it to people, and they're like, "Wow, where did that come from?"
that's exciting. And that's not surprising, but it is surprising also because you could have done just a straight expansion on the original Friday the 13th concept like that I was saying before. Limited run games took Jaws and turned it, they did all four movies and they like make it so the little crabs you pick up for power-ups eventually like turn to enemies, and they
Hmm.
made golden sharks. Like they kept expanding on it in a
I,
way that showed that if somebody had just done that originally, it would have maybe been like a classic. It's much much better. And you've
I
done that expansion for Friday the 13th, but even more than that. Like would you say it turns into like a different kind of game than people are aware of?
I would
Or do
say
you,
it's a different kind of game from the get-go. It's
yeah.
just the superficial aesthetics are similar to Friday the 13th, but it's its own game.
Yeah.
And part of designing it that way is I I mean, I feel like that ground was already tread by Lakeview Cabin. It was tread by there's a recent demake for the Game Boy that someone put out for the Friday the 13th that's
Oh,
very authentic.
okay.
In addition, there is a NES homebrew game that has like all the 80s and 90s killers, Candyman and Pennywise and what have you. And it's so polished.
Mm,
Highly recommend it outside of the fact that I don't know the name off the top of my head. But
sure.
like it's one of those, it's become a Halloween favorite now.
Sure, sure.
So
So,
it's well tread ground to explore those mechanics and specifically like, okay, how do we make this a more polished game? I'm more interested in like, okay, well that game was about my backyard. Let
mm,
me let me at least fix it conceptually and make it playable so that people don't think of my backyard in such a negative way.
mhm.
Although, it is a horror game about inspired by real stuff in South Jersey, so you might have some feelings about Jersey afterwards.
Well, that was, I almost got to, but I think I lost my own train of thought. It's not just about where bad things happen to people, it's where the people who have those bad things happen to them like persevere and
Hmm.
survive and rise above. It's victims and victimizers, which is just that's the United States. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the whole country is packed with that history, but it feels like Jersey amplifies it and concentrates it. And if you survive the victimization that you are trapped in at the camp, I'm hoping, like, are there multiple endings? Is there a way to get a happy ending where you,
There are four endings. I
that's
will
good.
say that. No, it's if I had to describe the four endings, which I would love to, because I feel like I've been just absolutely too vague about the game.
Mm,
Um, I would say there are four different interpretations of what's happening.
like right now?
Well, in South Jersey,
in South Jersey.
or perhaps just in the game, but also, I I don't know how much is the game and how much is reality anymore.
I know. Well, I'll get to find out soon. The next Friday the 13th this year, I think, is in November. I don't know if you knew that and looked at the calendar.
Yeah, I think it's already a bit of a misconception to think that this is just a straight remake of Friday the 13th. So I do think we want to release a little bit earlier too.
Oh, exciting.
So
Okay.
I'm hoping this summer is it. I mean, there's no
Wow.
reason for it's like done, and there's no reason for it to sit around until next year, for example. It's
Right.
just it's at the point where talking to people to make sure when we do it right. But summertime seems right for a summer camp.
Yeah, that does feel right to me, and I'm just excited to get it sooner rather than later. The only reason I thought that is last time you did have a hard release date. I thought it was on a Friday
Yep.
the 13th,
Yeah.
and then
Well,
you pulled it
yeah.
back.
Yeah,
Uh,
life gets in the way.
yes, it
I
does.
yeah, moved from Harrisburg to Philly
Oh,
and had a divorce
oh
and
no.
had all sorts of stuff. So
Yeah.
it it did put a little some breaks in my on the production, but now I feel a lot more comfortable about release. And in fact, in during that time, we improved the game greatly.
Oh yeah.
So even people who've played the game at conventions like AwesomeCon, they haven't seen most of what we've done.
Wow. Exciting. Well, we're almost here. I mean, it's May, so we. It's,
You don't know how excited I am. I
yeah.
really am. I may not seem it, but that's only because I'm also exhausted.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't blame you. This Zoom call only has 1 minute left. James, where can they find you on the internet to look at
You
these
could
things?
you just look for James Interactive. Also just Google Screaming Savage Blood Death or just Blood Death, and
Mm,
you should be
Screaming
able to
Savage.
find us.
Ah,
Yes,
so
Screaming
exciting.
Savage.
Thanks, thanks so much, James.
Thank you.